Okay, so today I will be working with the planet Saturn. Saturn is the strictest taskmaster. It's sort of said if Jupiter and Saturn were teachers, Jupiter would be the teacher that gives you lots of encouragement and praise and is very kind, and Saturn is the teacher that would be very strict and perhaps even have a stick and give you a little whack now and again. And in some circles of yoga, it's said that kind of teacher is actually the more efficient, because we really get things done through that kind of taskmaster energy, earning the respect and working really hard and being pushed to our limits. So that's the kind of what Saturn is about. So to work with this planet through a yoga practice, I've decided to do a slow flow today. We're going to use 5 breaths in each pose, and this is symbolic of the rings of Saturn. There are said to be somewhere between 500 and 1,000 rings, so I chose the number 5 as the 500 rings. So as we move through this practice, we can feel grateful that it's not 1,000 breaths. Hey guys. So let's start. We'll come to sit down and just tune into the breath. And as you tune into the breath, slow the breath right down. Everything slows down anyway when we tune into the breath. Tuning into Saturn as we work here, the slowest moving planet. And you'll notice as your mind starts to slow down and your breath starts to settle and you drop deeper and deeper into the breath, that the body will naturally start to heavy. So it's like as we move slower, there's more heaviness. And through our asana practice, this can feel quite heavy going. Yet this really helps us to build a balanced strength and flexibility. Let's take 5 more breaths here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now bring your arms into a T shape and draw your shoulders apart. Have your palms facing forward. As you draw your shoulders apart, try to set them into your back. Again for 5 breaths. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Well done. And let's keep that T shape and just start to roll the shoulders one way and then the other. Now keep your palms up, but turn your hands back as best you can and bring the arms behind you for 5 breaths. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now turn the palms down, keeping the arms where they are, and turn the palms away from you, and bring the arms back behind you a little more. So there's like an internal rotation of the shoulders for 1, 2, deep breaths, 3, 4, and 5. Well done. Release that and just shake your shoulders out. These 5 breaths, symbolic of the 500 rings, the boulders of debris. The rings of Saturn are made of gas and debris and stuff, space junk. And you know, when we work with the 5 breaths, we're shifting our own junk, our own boulders, our own debris. So in a seated position, let's take a side stretch here, just to the side. So take your left arm to the mat and bring your right arm, stretch it up and over your right ear for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come to the other side for 5, 4, 3, 2, heavy through the hips, and 1. And then come on out. Come to all 4s now, you guys. Let's just take cat-cow. And shifting any space, junk, any debris. As we inhale, opening the chest, and exhale, round the spine up towards the ceiling. And from here, let's just drop down for puppy pose. Your hips move up and back. Your forehead can come to the mat and just stretch your fingertips away from you for 5. Breathe deep. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Well done. Come out of that and come into downward facing dog when you're ready. For 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's shift down to all 4s again. Just take a rest for a second, and then from here we're going to come into plank position for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And let's drop down to plank from here. To chaturanga from here. Upward facing dog. Nice slow vinyasa, honoring Saturn, slowest planet, and then back to downward facing dog for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lovely. Let's step 1 foot forward, either one is fine, and come into warrior 1. Ground down through the back foot, square off your hips. We're going to hold this for 5 breaths. I'm counting the breaths really so I can kind of depict that strict taskmaster, that teacher that is very precise in instruction. I'd say that was about 3, 2, and 1. Let's take a slow vinyasa, coming to plank, slowly to chaturanga, slowly to up dog, and to downward facing dog in your own time for 5 breaths here. So the metal associated with Saturn is lead. And I like to think of the lead as drawing out a picture like a pencil. And the practice draws out this picture that can show us our limitations and creates purposefully these difficult learning curves. Let's bring the other foot forward and come into Warrior One on the other side. We take these slow 5 breaths here. We create with the 5 breaths the structure and discipline. And these are qualities that Saturn really likes. So keep breathing. For 2. And for 1. Lovely. Slow vinyasa now. So coming into plank. Slowly down chaturanga. Upward facing dog or cobra. And downward facing dog in your own time. Lovely. Let's walk the feet in halfway and come into Utkatasana, chair pose. Sink down through your hips and create the conditions that activate change. It's through the difficulty that we mostly change. And think of Saturn as that teacher with a stick. I've had yoga teachers before. One in particular actually gave me a kick once in a headstand. It was really bizarre. I wouldn't recommend it. But, that teacher specifically did get some really good results from me. He was very stern. Not one that I would choose again, but for that specific day, it was kind of good in its own way. So sinking down through the hips, let's take 5 slow breaths. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then come down to plank position again from here. Take that slow vinyasa through chaturanga and up dog. Back to downward facing dog. Really take your time here. So as we move slowly, we're creating this little bit more resistance in our practice. And this is really good to help us build more strength. From downward facing dog, let's take 5 breaths. 4, 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. And then let's walk halfway in again. And this time we're going to take Padangusthasana. So hold your toes, hook your toes with your first 2 fingers. Inhale, get long through the body. And as you exhale, fold forward. Bend the knees if you need to. For 5 breaths. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's inhale, come up halfway, and now slide your hands underneath your feet. Bend your knees a little more if you need to. For Padangusthasana, standing on your hands. Inhale, get long through the body, and exhale, fold forward. Gliding the shoulders away from the delicate structures of your neck. We breathe for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. Release your hands, come back to plank. And from plank, take a slow vinyasa. Create that resistance as you move. Back to downward facing dog. for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Beautiful. Now step 1 foot forward, and we'll come into a low lunge position here, Anjaneyasana. So keep the back knee down, bring your hands to prayer, and send your hips forward. Just holding this for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now interlock your hands behind your back, lift your chest a little more as you drop your hips a little more. So we're interlocking the hands for 5 breaths. 4. Breathe deep. 3, 2, and 1. Now you can bring your hands up over your head for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Meet me back in plank, sweet relief. And take a slow vinyasa back to downward facing dog. Really stay with that feeling of resistance as you slow down, things get heavier. This is very typical of that energy of Saturn. Beautiful. From downward facing dog, let's take the other foot forward. Coming into low lunge on the other side, the back knee is down, the hands come into prayer for 5, 4, breathing, 3, 2, let your hips tilt forwards a little, and 1. Now interlock your hands behind your back the weird way this time and lift your chest. Staying in the low lunge for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lovely. Bringing the hands up now above the head, staying put for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Meet me in plank. And take a slow vinyasa now. Back to downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, let's come forward to lie on the belly and bring yourself into Sphinx pose. In Sphinx pose, drop your tailbone down, activate your legs and lift your chest up. For 5, 4, 3, 2, And 1. Keep breathing. And now change your hands so the backs of your hands come to the ground behind you, and stay lifting the chest if you can for 5. 4. 3. 2. 1. Keeping the hands where they are, let's lift the legs. So we're in Shalabhasana position here. The fingernails are touching the floor. We're lifting the legs for 5. 4. Feel that resistance building strength in your back. 3. Relax your face. 2. Breathing deep. 1 more deep breath here. And now stay up and interlock your fingers. Almost there, you guys. So the chest is lifting, the legs are lifting, the hands are lifting behind you for 5. 4. Keep breathing. 3. 2. And 1. Beautiful. As you exhale, release that. On your next inhale, come into up dog. Slowly back to downward facing dog. And from downward facing dog, let's take a child's pose just to release all of that work in the back. Tune into your breath. Let the breath slow down and feel how this creates that heaviness through the body. It creates the resistance that we can work with to our benefit. So, being a hard taskmaster isn't necessarily a bad thing. This energy of Saturn has a lot of resistance to it, but through that we can build a lot of strength on every plane. Saturn influences the flow and flexibility in the body in a very structured way, a very systematic way. This planet works with the skin and the skeleton. So as you breathe here, feel your skin breathing. And as you become aware again of that heaviness through the body, feel the weight of your bones. The heaviness of Saturn, the slowest moving planet, which can feel the most heavy going, really. A strict taskmaster. Okay, so we're in child's pose, and from here we're going to slowly push back to downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, let's shift forward to plank and take a slow vinyasa. Slow as you can. Add that little bit of resistance that will help you build strength. And then come back to downward facing dog. So you should find yourself in downward facing dog for 5 breaths. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Let's bring your right foot forward when you're ready. Come into a high lunge. So your back knee is raised. And we're going to twist towards the bent leg, raising your top arm up towards the ceiling. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. Then put your back knee down to the floor and let's work your elbow now over your thigh. And you can either bring your elbow over your thigh, you might even be able to bring your sort of shoulder across your thigh a little bit. So we're coming into a deeper twist here. Once you find your twist, let's lift the back knee back up again and hold this for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. Take a slow vinyasa back to downward facing dog. Take your time. Slower the better. Build that resistance. Once you find your downward facing dog, we're going to take 5 breaths here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Let's bring the left foot forward now for a high lunge on the other side. So the back knee is raised and we're going to twist towards the bent leg. For 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Then put your back knee down and work your elbow over your thigh or even your shoulder over towards your thigh, coming into a deeper twist. When you find that deeper twist, lift the back knee back up and hold this for 5, 4. Think of those boulders, the 500 or 1,000 rings of Saturn. It creates all this debris that you're shifting, and that's what you're doing right now. 2 and 1. Beautiful. Let's take a slow vinyasa back to downward facing dog. And from downward facing dog, let's bring ourselves into Vashisthasana or side plank, but let's keep the lower knee down. So the lower knee is to the floor and we're just stretching along through the top side of the body for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Gorgeous. Then turn your lower leg, so keep the knee down so your foot is pointing behind you. Your top leg reaches out to the side and come upright. And then you'll slide your arm down your straight leg, coming into an open gate pose, side stretching here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Meet me in plank and take a slow vinyasa. letting that heavy resistance start to build. And from downward facing dog, let's bring the other knee down. So we're coming to side plank on the other side. So easy Vashisthasana for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now keeping your shin down, just turn your legs so your foot points behind you. Bring your body up and your other leg reaches out to the side, and we're just going to lean across that straight leg for an open gate pose for 5, 4, breathing deep, 3, feeling all your boulders, all your space debris shifting, 2, and 1. Lovely. Meet me in plank position, you guys, and take a slow vinyasa back to downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, let's take 5 breaths. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now bring your left foot forward and turn to the long edge of your mat for a wide legged fold, or you can bring whatever leg forward, it doesn't really matter. We'll stick with the left foot. From your wide leg forward fold, we're going to bring one hand just underneath your face, so keep the body long, nice and long. We're not actually folding in, we've got a flat back here, and twist. So the top arm extends towards the ceiling for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lovely. Let's swap that twist, go the other way for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. Then bring your hands to your hips and rise yourself back on up slowly on a slow inhale. Exhale to stand, and then as you inhale, open your chest, keeping the hands on the hips. Let's fold in again. Exhale. So the hands are to the hips for 5 breaths. 4, 3, 2, 1. And on a slow inhale, when you're ready, come back to standing. We're going to go down again. This time we're going to interlace the hands behind the back first. Open the chest as you inhale. And as you exhale, fold through again with the hands interlaced behind you. We'll hold this for, you guessed it, 5 breaths. 5 golden rings of Saturn. 5 rings of space debris. 3, 2, 1. On a long inhale, come back to stand. Release your hands. Bring your hands back to your hips. As you inhale, lift your chest. And as you exhale, fold forward. This time, hook onto your big toes. Inhale halfway. Exhale, fold on in for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. From here, let's stay down, but bend your right knee and take this into I think it's called Skandasana. It's like a side lunge. Just holding this side lunge. You can have your fingertips to the floor, or you can bring your hands to prayer if that's appropriate for your body. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lovely. Stay on this side. We're just going to keep this position, but sit back onto your bottom. So your right knee is still bent and the foot is to the floor, but your left leg is outstretched to the side. And just stay here for 5, 4, breathing as deeply as possible, 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. Then let's take that into a side stretch. So just stretch your top arm up and over, stretching towards your straight leg for 5. It might even be a bindable stretch here. 4, 3, 2, 1. Lovely. Then your bent knee can come into your thigh for Janu Sirsasana A. Inhale, lift your chest. And exhale, fold on in for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, lift your heart. Exhale, come out of that and then meet me in plank. And from plank position, let's take a slow vinyasa back to downward facing dog. Beautiful. From downward facing dog, I believe it's our right foot comes forward and we're turning the other way for a wide-legged forward fold. Just folding in here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you've got the option here of a little baby tripod headstand or a full tripod headstand if you like, or just stay in the forward fold for another 5 breaths. 4, 3, 2, 1, bringing the legs back to the ground. So we're all in a wide leg forward fold now. We're going to stay down, but from here we're going to bend the left knee, I believe. Yeah. And do that sort of side lunge Skandasana, I believe it's called, for 5 breaths. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Lovely. Let's take this to seated position. So just sitting down here for 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Bringing this into a side stretch. So side stretch across your straight leg for 1, 2, 3, deep breathing, 4, heavy through the hips, and 5. And then coming into Janushasana A, inhaling, lifting your heart, lengthening through the front body. Exhale, fold in for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. Let's inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, come out of that. Meet me in plank position. And from your plank position, take a slow vinyasa back to downward facing dog. In downward facing dog, let's take 5 breaths. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And let's come forward to sit at the top of the mat. Come into Dandasana, staff pose. Flex your feet, activate your legs. Lift your front body up, lift your chest up. Spread your collarbones and drop your chin down for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. From here, let's inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, Paschimottanasana, forward fold. Let's hold the toes here. As you inhale, get long through your body. And as you exhale, fold in for 5 breaths. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So inhale, get long through the body again, heart forward. And exhale, let's hold on to the feet now. Hold on to the outsides of your feet. Inhale, get long, and exhale, fold a little deeper for 5 breaths. Here we go. 1, breathing deep. 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, the heart lifts. And as you exhale, slowly come out of that. Set your hands up for a reverse plank or tabletop pose here. And we're going to lift the hips, so come into tabletop for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale here. Exhale, release that. And then slowly roll down to the floor from here, lying on the back. Just take a moment here. See if you can slow the breath down even more and feel that sensation of heaviness moving through your body. Beautiful. From here, let's come into bridge position. Just lifting the hips. You can have your hands, you can hold your ankles, you can interlace your hands underneath you. You can have your hands flat to the floor, whatever affords you this feeling of lift through your body. And let this lift come from the heaviness in your feet and the heaviness through the body, through the shoulders, through the head. We'll hold this for 5 breaths. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Beautiful. Let yourself come down now. Feel how this practice, the lead element of Saturn, the metal, the corresponding metal of lead, is kind of drawing out the learning curves like a pencil. And I love to feel this through this pose as we go up for another bridge here. So you can change the position of your arms this time. Just push your hips up for 1, 2, 3, 4. Everything is a learning curve. The resistance builds, the strength. 5. And exhale, come on down. Beautiful. And we can take one more like that, or you can take your hands to your shoulders and push up for full wheel here. It's completely up to you. Let's come on up when you're ready into whatever version of bridge pose is reasonable for you today. And hold this with some commitment, as if that teacher with a stick is standing over you, for 1, 2, really push yourself up. 3, feel how the heaviness in this pose facilitates the lift. 4, one more breath. 5, deep breath. Exhale, release that. Gorgeous. Slowly bring your knees into your chest and hold this for 1. Breathing deep. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now bring yourself up to seated in your own good way. Take 2 blocks, bring them forwards of your hips. We're going to flex the feet, activate the legs, lean forward as if we're folding forward, and feel your tummy lift up. Activate Mula Bandha, pelvic floor, Uddiyana Bandha, very deep abdominal muscles, and push into your arms and lift your hips for 1. Hips go up and back. 2, 3, breathing deep. 4, and 5. Beautiful. When you're ready, release that, and let's come back to plank, holding plank here. And from plank, we'll take that slow vinyasa with lots of resistance to bring us back to downward facing dog. Let's hold downward facing dog for 5 breaths. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And from downward facing dog, let's come to sit and then lie down. Extend your legs, point your toes on both feet, and let's just lift one knee in towards the chest. And we're going to hold this now. The holds are going to get longer from here on in, but more restorative. So we're going to hold for about 10 breaths. I won't count this. So we're going deeper into the debris, if you like, the 500 to 1,000 rings of Saturn. So we've done the 5 breaths to honor the minimum amount of rings. I'll make anything up, and this time we're coming into about 10 breaths to honor the maximum amount of rings. And as you hold this position, just feel any blocks inside of you starting to break down. Gorgeous. From here, let's extend that leg that you're hugging in, let's extend it up towards the ceiling and continue with a longer hold. So it's almost like our debris, our blocks, the stuff that we need to shift now is kind of moving away from us. It's like the rings of Saturn. It's sort of outside of us now. We're kind of saying, I don't really need to hold this in my body, whatever this is. And see if you can let yourself relax here more. We're coming into the more relaxing section of the practice. So we'll work with the heaviness of Saturn now, as opposed to the strictness of Saturn, the taskmaster element that we have done so far. Now we're moving into this heaviness that comes from this slowing and deepening of breath. Beautiful. We'll take that extended leg back into the chest, bending the knee, and now let's bring it across the body for a twist. Holding this for around 10 breaths, maybe even a little longer. Find the heaviness in your body and work with that. And as you slow and deepen the breath, notice how the heaviness builds. Saturn is the slowest moving planet. Now we're moving into that kind of energy now. Understanding, that the slowing down can create quite a lot of resistance. So when in our lives, when we feel that we've hit a wall and we're going slow, we're not getting anywhere, it creates a lot of resistance for us to move against. And this builds strength. Not always a bad thing, you guys. Deepening the breath even more, heavying the body even more. Gorgeous. Let's come out of that twist. And then swap your legs over so you're lifting the other knee in towards your chest, pointing both your toes. The leg that was bent is now straight, and the leg that was straight is now bent. I know you'll know this. Slowing down the breath and feeling the heaviness start to build as the breath starts to slow. This builds a lot of centeredness inside of us. This heaviness is, there's very positive qualities to slowing right down. Can center us, give us more clarity, more understanding, and strengthen us through this whole process. Gorgeous. From here, let's extend that top leg. Just allowing the muscles in your leg to stretch. Feeling the resistance within your leg and working with that resistance. Not against it, not pushing too much, but not, this pose is not without resistance, is what I'm saying, and nor should it be. Breathe into that resistance. Let the hinge of your jaw relax. Let everything become a little more relaxed, a little heavier as the breath deepens and slows. Gorgeous. Then let's take that leg and bring it back into the chest. And now across the body for a supine twist. We're taking about 10 breaths here. Slow and deep with the breath. Letting yourself heavy. And if you feel that it's difficult for you to slow down and heavy, or slow down your thoughts or drop into this type of practice, ask Saturn for assistance. Beautiful. Then coming out of that twist, let's bring both knees into the chest, and again we'll hold this here for 10 breaths or thereabouts. Beautiful. Now straighten your legs towards the ceiling and relax here for another 10 breaths. Just letting that heaviness through the body facilitate the rise of the legs. Beautiful. Then we'll take those straight legs and draw them in towards the body so you're in like a reclined forward fold here. Don't worry if your sacrum comes away from the floor. Just breathe and enjoy the stretch. Let your skin stretch. And Saturn works with those large organ of the skin. Breathe as if to breathe in and out from every pore of your skin now. Beautiful. Let's come into happy baby from here. You can hold the backs of your thighs, your ankles, or your toes, whatever is appropriate for your body. Deepen your breath and let yourself get as heavy as possible here. Release the hinge of your jaw and let your eyeballs even fall back into their sockets. And from happy baby, let's bring the soles of the feet together so we're in like a reclined Baddha Konasana with the feet up. Just holding your feet, let your knees go wide. Beautiful. Let's release this. And in whatever way works, bring yourself up to seated. We're going to come onto the belly, grab a bolster or a couple of blankets, and we're going to just take cobra over a bolster. Letting the buttocks be soft. Noticing that you need to push into the arms a little bit here, activate the shoulders, bring them into the back a little bit and lift through your chest and your sternum. But don't let this create any tension in the back of your neck. So you're soft through your buttocks and you're soft through your neck. Your elbows are slightly forward of your shoulders. We'll just hold this here. Breathing deep, allowing that release process that comes from slowing something right down. And closing the eyes, just feeling any kind of debris, space, debris or dust around you, and letting that fall away as best you can. Noticing the areas of tension, see if you can add more breath, slow down the usual reaction to tension to these points in your body and go a little deeper. A little deeper into them with the breath for a deeper release. Lovely. From here, let's come out of that and come into child's pose. Put the bolster sort of between your legs, let your legs go wide, and just rest here. Release the hinge of your jaw. Let yourself heavy as much as possible. See if you can just embody that, the slow pace of Saturn, the heaviness of Saturn. That hard taskmaster that, you know, when that teacher says you do it, you do it. And at this point in time, that teacher is saying, get heavy, relax. So really let that happen now. Make that happen in your body with your intention. Releasing the hinge of your jaw, releasing any tension in your hands and your feet, any tension in your face. A slow transition brings you back up, and we'll take a Gomukhasana through the legs, keeping that bolster handy. You can stay as upright as you need to, or if your body will allow for it, you can fold over your bolster. Heavying like lead. Breathing deep. As you inhale, come out of that and just switch the cross of your legs. And again, fold over your bolster if that is appropriate. If Gomukhasana legs is too much, and sorry I didn't say this on the other side, you can take Sukhasana, just cross your legs. Easy pose. Inhale here, you guys. As exhale, come out of that and come into Shavasana when you're ready. In Shavasana, get heavy like lead. We can recognize the practice that we've just done in our Shavasana, the taskmaster, the counting the breaths. It really helps, gives us a real structure through which we can kind of clean ourselves out, break through our own restrictions, see our own restrictions, enhance our flexibility, our balance and our strength through our breath and through the structure of the practice. And Saturn has this structure and this stability through which a clearer self can birth. It's the hard taskmaster that forces us to get things done, that slows things down and creates resistance so that we do them well and we're thorough. And we can't just dance over it. There's a quality in this that is very, very beautiful, that quality of diligence, determination. Okay, so start to feel the impulse of Saturn now. The archetypal authoritarian, the strict, no-nonsense father figure. The taskmaster. In Shavasana, Saturn demands you to be still, and so you are still. It is wise to submit to the command of Saturn. Saturn knows the limits of time and knows that this time is a time of submission and surrender, this time of Shavasana. So surrender now. Using this time wisely. Saturn also understands the restrictions and resistance of matter, reminding you to savor the experience of the body in relaxation. Beyond restriction and beyond resistance, relax. Saturn slows the body down, demanding the limbs be heavy, and the bones within the body move back and down. Be still, relax, let go. Saturn asks you to make a commitment to relax now. Mentally repeat, I relax. I relax. I completely relax. Relax. Feeling the boundary of your body spread and widen into the floor as you relax even deeper now. through the discipline of your practice, Saturn creates the conditions for relaxation and growth. Saturn demands the effort that creates relaxation. And you feel the impulse of Saturn commanding you to relax even more. Respecting the structure of practice and the importance of Shavasana as a part of the completion. Relax. 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 Breathe in and out as if to breathe in through every pore in your skin. And as you exhale through every pore in your skin, feel your entire body let go into submission, into surrender. Relax. Relax. Relax.